The opinions expressed on the Custody Queen Show are for informational purposes only and are not a substitute for personal, professional legal advice. The persons discussed are fictional and not based on actual clients.
Thought it was love, had kids in between. You can count on us, we're the Custody Queens. Yeah, you can count on us, we're the Custody Queens.
It is Super Saturday, and we are moving and we are grooving, and we are welcoming Melissa, our newest custody queen. And Melissa, we'll get into everything about Melissa here shortly, but Melissa has been a family law attorney for 10 years?
9 years, coming on 10.
Close enough, for a decade, right? And we're going to get into what her passions are within family law and how she decided on family law. But, let's break her in. Let's just go for it.
For anyone listening, Melissa is tall, so now we're two tall, one small.
I am definitely outnumbered. They are both over 6 feet, and even with my tallest heel, I am probably 5'8", and likely to break my ankle. All right, so Sam, let's break her in.
All right, so let's get into our CQ Talk Box. Kristen and I have been working on this app for quite some time now, and we basically have a bunch of questions, and the idea is that we get under the surface and really open up a conversation for everyone to have, all ages. We have them categorized based on ages, but it's just a fun way to kind of get to know everyone and to ask those deep questions that you don't necessarily normally ask.
It's a safer way to celebrate, the holidays with playing the CQ Talk Box with all the holidays coming up. We try to avoid some of the more risky questions that may come up during the Thanksgiving family dinner table or, for the holidays. But it's a safe, family, fun way to get to know anybody that you want to know deeper.
Yeah, and I think, probably this is true for most attorneys, but we're question masters, right, by trade. We ask questions every day in court of witnesses, and I just think that this is really something that people don't do a lot of. You spend a lot of time with people, and you don't necessarily ask the right questions and get down to really know people. So
our questions have questions, and I agree with Sam, and I think that when I am meeting with a client or a prospective client or really just any adult relationship I have, is I like to get to know that person on a more meaningful level. What makes their heart beat? What are their passions? What are their deal breakers? Because I think if I better understand a prospective client or a client, then I understand what is important to them on a different level versus them filling out a homework packet, checking boxes. Yes, the timeshare is super important, but the dune buggy's not. I want to know, what are your deal breakers for the next 20 years of your life, because that's the path that we are getting you on.
All right, Melissa, we are going to get deep really quick. Okay, so what do you wish was different in your life?
That's easy. I wish that my mom was still alive.
Oh, that is a good one.
She passed away in 2020, and she was my biggest cheerleader and just an awesome lady. I think she'd get along well with both of you.
Well, I would have loved to have met her, but she definitely did a great job with you.
Yes.
Oh, thank you so much.
But that's a great one, because you never know when it's someone's last day, right? I think that I've learned that this year.
Absolutely.
Well, Sam,
No, Kristen, what do you wish was different in your life? We know how this goes. You guys go serious. I don't.
I might vent a lot about, I wish that I wasn't a lawyer, or I wish I didn't have such a stressful job, or I wish my youngest was older so I wasn't potty training or slept more. But in reality, I don't know that I really want anything to be different overall. I mean, there's a lot of things I wish for the world, and I wish for more kindness and more empathy, and a lot of the things that our children are facing in this new era. There's a lot of things I would change like that, but I think that I'm pretty good with my life of getting rid of the toxic people or things or events and making changes. And I don't tell my husband this, but I don't think there's anything I would change right now.
Definitely telling your husband that.
I think that I'm pretty content. And I think it just depends, on the day. If you ask me this when I slept 4 hours in a night and I was hungry, it would probably be many things that I would change. But I think I'm pretty satisfied with where I'm at in life as a person, and I'm going to let it roll right now. But I do think that handing out grocery carts at Walmart would be a less stressful job sometimes.
Absolutely.
We say that
Definitely.
sometimes when we're in the depths of trial. It's like, could you imagine being like a greeter at a retail store and just handing them the cart, and at the end of the day, that's your job. There's no one reading your emails or threatening to sue you or threatening to take your client's kids away, and that's your responsibility.
High stakes.
Sam wanted to sell alligator heads for a while in Arkansas.
I still do. Well, it doesn't really matter what we sell. The thing is, Kristen could sell ice to an Eskimo. So just pick whatever topic it is and then just run away to anywhere, swampland. If you want to go tropical, we could do that. Kristen will figure out how to sell it. And then so my master plan is that.
I could see Sam wanting to start a shark diving business like in Fiji or something.
Why not?
Yeah, I mean, we could talk about that, but I think we might be about 10 years out.
We could get a boat, put CQ on the side of it. We can get Dame behind that.
Yeah, let's get on it.
All right, so what do I wish was different in my life? I think maybe a semi-serious answer, but it's just I think that in family law, all of us have a bunch of family law cases, and it is not infrequent that you have an attorney that gets burnt out or feels they have too much of a caseload. Sometimes that is true and not true, but there's a lot of family issues going on in every county, every state. And sometimes I get discouraged that I feel that there's not always enough attorneys to fit those needs. And so when I think, what do I wish was different? I wish that, every family law case is maybe resolvable outside of court. I don't know that wish is actually going to come true. But short of that coming true, it's that everyone really has access to counsel and access to the information needed to make the right decisions for their family, to protect themselves, to protect their children. And so my wish is that Custody Queens continues to grow and we continue to build a team. Melissa's part of that, adding on to the team, to build a team to be able to service more clients worldwide.
In more areas, and really just educate people, similar to if you were hiring a criminal defense attorney to represent you in criminal court. It may not be the same extreme where you're talking about your liberty or your freedom, but we're talking about kids and families, and there are a lot of consequences that come with the family law process. If you do not understand the process, you are not educated of what the law is, how the law applies to your case. And I would like to see more opportunity and more attorneys to be able to represent the pro se litigants, because sometimes when I'm in there watching in court, it's such an easy fix or an easy argument to be made, but these people don't know what they're entitled to under the law. They don't know, and judges are prohibited from giving legal advice. But there's so many cases that I feel like we could just knock out one at a time. It could be something as filling out a form or, a service issue. And I agree. I would like to see Custody Queens expand so that we can help more people in more areas on a budget where we try to find an attorney that fits everybody in every case.
And just having the access to the information is really crucial too, because not every case requires an attorney. A lot do. But just having the information and empowering yourself to be able to make the right decisions based on the law and your facts.
And we do have a lot of information on our website on custodyqueens.com. We have all of our past episodes of the last 200 plus shows that we have done over the last 3 years. If you go to custodyqueensonair.com, you can learn about how to prepare for a consult. You can meet new attorneys like Melissa. You can learn about domestic violence. You can learn about child support, spousal support, asset division. There's a lot of really good information in the videos. They're all titled by what the subject is. And there's also a lot of links that we provide to people on helpful blogs or just webinars that we've done, and a lot of other professionals that we work with in this field. All right, so let's make Melissa feel a little uncomfortable.
All right, Melissa. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
I am divorced myself.
So you bring a different, you bring something different that I don't bring to the table.
Yeah, so it's definitely not something I don't have a chip on my shoulder about being divorced, but I have found that it really does tie me in to the process. I had a very amicable divorce, so I'm very lucky for that. I can discuss how my situation went. And that's something that I think I love about the Custody Queens, is that the attorneys are encouraged to be people.
Human.
And have conversations. And I don't hesitate to tell people about in my exactly, in my divorce, in other cases, in my family, talking about mental health stuff. We've all had challenges, and I think sometimes people put attorneys on this pedestal and think, oh, you're professionals, you're perfect. We're just people. We work really hard.
We have therapists too.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, and if I could change something in the world, everybody would have a therapist.
A therapist needs a therapist.
Absolutely. And that would make our jobs a lot easier. But there's not always resources for that. But that would be great. So sorry to go out on a tangent.
No, we love that. You just hit many of the points that we talk about.
It's a great point. I mean, it really is. There's something to be said about bridging that gap between being an attorney and being a human for your clients, because it's a very raw thing to go through, and sometimes it's a very public thing and a very traumatic thing for some, and it can be high conflict, but most people have been affected some way by divorce, either by getting divorced, like myself being a child who had parents that were divorced, or, Kristen, who is a mother, she's gone through a lot of understanding and empathy for people with small children and sort of how to navigate that. So everyone at Custody Queen sort of brings that different piece to the table. The point being, we are also humans. We do also make mistakes. We get hangry. Right. And we do in some way either empathize with you, know what you're going through, have been there ourselves, and that's what we strive to make sure all of our clients know. So I think that's a great point that you bring up.
When I was interviewing Melissa, it's a process. You kind of have to go through the screening, and then once you get a couple of us on the Zoom, you're heading in the right direction. And we're all partners and attorneys that are interviewing. We all have different positions about applicants, but I am a gut person. And it hasn't always been liked by other management. I don't spend much time on a resume. I sometimes I get concerned with job skipping or hopping or where's the years here, but I don't spend that much time. It's a gut feeling. I did it with Sam, and we're celebrating 10 years here together. But one thing I loved about Melissa is she was very real. She was very human. That's super important to me. You nailed on like 3 of our core values at Custody Queens. It's family first. It's we are humans just like you. We want to share our struggles with you. We want to show you that the best of us end up here, and just because you're going through a divorce or a hard time or a separation or whatever it is, it doesn't define you. It doesn't identify you. It's not a negative thing. It's the next step. And one of the best reviews or compliments I ever got in my career, I had one client who told me, "I love how relatable you are." And that's just kind of carried me through the years. But I want our clients to know that we are on this journey with them.
Yeah, I would much rather have a client say, "You were so real, you were really there for me as a person," as opposed to, "You were the most polished attorney in the room at the court today."
I throw pens. I can get a little dramatic. Sam's seen it all.
That's involuntary pen tossing. I'll tell you that.
And when I look at attorneys that I'm interviewing, of course I'll do the background checks and the social and make sure there's nothing out there that's like, whoa. But the way you answered questions, you were very relatable to me. I think that you answered questions, but it wasn't like textbook responses, like, why should you be a specialist? And, I get everything under the sun, but I like the way you held a conversation. And she's also, like I said, 6 foot tall with Sam, so it's a very striking presence. And it was, when we look to add Custody Queen attorneys, man or woman, we have plenty of men that are kicking booty, and I couldn't be more proud. But it's really, who are you as a human, and are you representing what's important to us? Because that to me is way more important than knowing a footnote on the bottom of a page about a case from 10 years ago. We can Google that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, Melissa, what got you into family law?
So I grew up in Orange County, and we have a above average divorce rate. My parents were together until my mom passed, but I had a ton of friends whose parents got divorced. And I was firstborn, so I was good with talking with parents, spent a lot of time with adults, and I always connected in middle school and high school with my friends' parents about their divorces. And I saw with horror that some of my friends' parents' attorneys were doing things like pitting siblings against each other in custody matters, just doing things that are going to absolutely destroy the family. That is incredibly important to me, and coming into family law was that I want to help people go through this process. It happens to all of us. It's just a normal thing. So many people will go through this, but you don't have to destroy your family. You are dissolving a marriage, and that's it.
You're dissolving something else.
You're still a family for decades if you have kids, and I don't want to do more damage. So my goal was to come into family law. One, I loved it because people are real.
Right.
And I love that. I love that it's real. I love that it's raw, and we get to help people get through it. I love that it has financial issues, custody issues. It's interdisciplinary. I'm never bored.
I was just going to say it's never boring.
Never
Been a lot
Always
of things,
changing.
but never have I been bored.
Absolutely, never boring. But I really just wanted more. I don't want to say, I'm a great person, because everyone has, it's subjective. But I wanted to come in and try to do the right thing, especially in custody matters. I know a lot of people as adults who are struggling in their adult relationships because of their parents' divorce and how their parents handled it.
And then they carry off and they simulate that experience, and it's multi-generational.
Absolutely. And that is also why I'm a huge proponent of therapy. You'll hear me talk about that all the time.
We talk about it all the time.
All the time. If I could just take a magic wand and give everybody a therapist that's going through this process, that would be amazing, because we all carry our baggage through
Even if we don't
this
realize
process.
we're carrying it, it's there. When we did a show not too long ago about high conflict divorce, and that was what Sam and I said was probably the most important thing, is when I do the consult, I say, do you have a therapist? No, get one. I want to see 3 names, that you've reached out to. And I tell them that's just important to the process as it is hiring me. Most attorneys, to be honest, we don't want our clients for 8 years. There's a rare case where it may last that long. And of course, we all have a few of those. But I would say most attorneys want to see their clients move on. And if your attorney doesn't, and he wants you to keep paying him, then you need to call the Custody Queens at 1-800-419-7772. That's 1-800-419-7772. So Melissa she's got her own, she came in running from the start, and I can tell you that I have, worked with her on I don't know, probably a handful of cases, 10 cases or so in the last month, and my clients have been very happy. I've done calls with her. We can already pick up each other's sentences, which is a little weird because we've only been working together for 6 months or so. But there's definitely the connection with Sam and I, and she practices law the same way that we do. And my former clients, now Melissa's clients, that still have access to the Custody Queens and can call and email, but they have an attorney that may have less cases, and so she can focus more on those time-sensitive issues. But they have all been very, very happy.
Yeah, and I think that you guys both brought up some really good points regarding clients and the process and humanizing it. And I think what's really important for everyone to remember is that this is a process that is going to end. And so when you're talking about mitigating damage to your children and to your family unit, even if you're separating, you really do, although sometimes litigation is necessary, even maybe just a small amount of litigation, the reality is it's 1 or 2 days of your life in court, or maybe a couple more days than that over an extended period of time, but then you have to live your life throughout that. And so having the additional support of your friends, your family, and then also that boundary of your therapist not making your your friends, your unqualified therapists is, I think, also
for real,
important.
100%.
But the goal of Custody Queens, when we think about families, what you're going through a really hard time, and we want to help get you through it, whatever that looks like. And that's different for every family and every circumstance. And that's why we're so passionate about having our own custom case strategy for you and your case. It's not one size fits all. Your case will be managed probably differently. If I have one case one week and another case the next, they'll probably be managed differently based on my client's goals, expectations, overall outcome. And sometimes when you really get that time to sit down with your attorney and craft that plan and get the education involved in understanding how and why you're making those decisions for your case, you can really be empowered in your divorce case or your custody case. It doesn't have to always have this negative stigma to it. Like you said, when you're going through divorce, we want to normalize it. It's not encouraging it. That's a different thing. It's normalizing it. A lot of us have gone through it, been impacted by it. I have, Melissa has, and I know Kristen has in other ways. So I think that we are so excited as Custody Queens to be able to offer this sort of different type of client and attorney interaction.
Yeah, I mean, divorce is personal. Separation is personal, whether you never had a relationship but you have a child together. We want to be part of that journey, but at the end of the day, this is your life, this is your show, this is your decisions. We just want to give you the tools that you can to make what's best for you. We don't know your kids the way you do. You know, I might get to see them here and there in passing, and I might know their names and their date of birth and where they were born by the forms you fill out, but I would never want someone else making the decisions about children that I have with someone else. I would want me and the other parent to do that. But you have to trust your legal team, and you have to take care of yourself, because if you're not taking care of yourself, it makes this more drawn out, more high conflict, and more expensive.
Absolutely. So, Melissa, do you have a certain area of law that you're specifically interested in family law right now?
Really, it's everything, but I've had a lot of very high conflict custody matters lately, and they're very, very unique. I've had a lot of issues with substance abuse. Kristen and I have worked on some cases related to that, and that is a really interesting spot in family law. There's a lot of, if you're representing the person that is having the substance abuse issue, there's a lot of supporting them, helping them get better, protecting the child, getting resources, classes. I have learned so much more about AA and NA over the last couple of years, and I think it's an amazing program, and really just there's so many different things that we can recommend to our clients. We're not experts, but we can point people in the right direction to get the support they need, and there's things we can do to help people not only be in a better position for custody matters, for eventually getting, if their goal is to have overnights, to get to overnights, or eventually getting 50%, I know that by making these recommendations, I'm going to help my client become sober, but become a better person, more balanced, a better co-parent, managing their anger, getting to the core issues that are leading to the substance abuse.
Overall.
Yeah, absolutely. And I really find that can be incredibly rewarding. It can be incredibly rewarding and gratifying.
Yeah, and I think you bring up a good point, because I do notice that there's a trend of people that, you know, kind of maybe shy away from having an attorney or shy away from the legal process because they feel very lost, or if you have a substance abuse issue or you have some other issue that prevents you from being confident to go into court and try to get some more time with your children or try to change your scenario, you kind of shy away from it because you are scared of the legal system or scared of the judgment from the legal system. And, you know, that can be a very scary thing, and I'm very empathetic towards that, and we all are, but it really is important for you to call in and speak with an attorney and understand what that looks like, because there's very often steps that you can take, and if you trust the process, as Kristen always says, there's very often steps that you can take to really put yourself in a better position, both for your family, for yourself, and also importantly, in your family law matter, all hope is very rarely lost.
Yeah, I try to remind all my clients or, prospective clients, and this really applies to life in general, whether you're talking to your neighbor, but almost everything is temporary, right? Unless it's a tattoo, but on some level, that's still temporary. I jokingly, because, I think I got a tattoo about 12 years ago that would I have gotten again today? No. But it'd probably be a long process to get removed. But for the most part, everything is temporary. So I tell my clients when we're going into a hearing or a trial that I do not believe is going to be favorable to them, but I have always, my clients and the custody queen clients, they know what the expectations are before we get in that room. You're going to hear from all of us a week, 5 days, 4 days, 3 days, anytime new documents or new information come in. You are never going to question as our client or our referral, if you're referring someone to us, you are never going to question, I wonder what's going to happen in court tomorrow. Now, clearly we don't have a crystal ball, but based on our experience, our reputation, our homework, our work ethic, I have a very good belief of what may happen. And you're going to know that. The good, the bad, the ugly, because we got to trust each other here in this process. If you don't trust me, I'm not the right fit. And if I don't trust you, I'm not the right fit for you. And we're going to get through this together. But if something doesn't go our way, it's temporary. And then we reconvene and we talk. Okay, so these were the judge's concerns. This is the things that we need to overcome. We need to show that you're sober for a longer period of time. We need to show that you're holding down a job. We need to show that you have, a stable environment because you've moved 6 times in the last 2 years. And those are all genuine concerns that a court may have. But we're going to reconvene. We're going to put our heads together. We often put our heads together, like the queens do. But we get to collaborate with some of the brightest and most brilliant attorneys in Southern California. We have 7 offices. So we get to have these, weekly, bi-weekly attorney meetings where we get to say, hey, I have this really odd case with this judge, and can anyone recommend this expert, or what do you think the judge is going to do here? And we get to come up with a case strategy that is specific to your case.
Yeah, and when Kristen talks about temporary, what we're referring to, there are temporary orders, there are permanent orders, and if you go to a trial, you'll have a permanent order. But what we're more generally talking about as it relates to custody and visitation is that the court is going to maintain jurisdiction over your children, which means that the court is going to be able to continue to make orders over your children. So if circumstances change, then we can potentially go back to court and change those circumstances with the court. And so there is sort of this ongoing potential to change your situation. We want to keep you out of court. We want to get you an order that's going to last for a really long time, and then we want you to never have to see us again with love, right? But if you need us again, or if court went really bad, there again, hope's not lost. So we want to empower everyone to understand that and to receive the education to understand what you can and cannot do in a court. Maybe you can't do something today, but maybe 6 months down the line you can.
There's almost always something you can do to cure the situation or to improve it. And it's not often something that can happen overnight. You have to do things that illustrate a bigger picture. And that's where we come together as a team. And you may see one of us on your your case title, but I can tell you that all 3 of us talk about all of the cases quite often. And we can talk on Saturdays, we text each other, hey, what do you think about this? But that's something that when I started Custody Queens, my mission was to have relatable attorneys, to educate our clients, and to really put family above everything else, but to create a business, but more of a relationship with anyone that needs our assistance, and to really get rid of the negativity with any family law case. It's just it's a next stage in your life. So let's get through it, and let's push you off and get you to the next, more exciting phase. And we're going to have Melissa on again, and we're going to go into another episode where we're going to answer all of our listener emails that we have stacked up, and we're going to have Melissa on with us so that we can continue, asking her to answer some fun questions with you guys. But I really want you guys to get to know her. Sam and I love her, and we are so happy she's part of our team. And we will provide all of Melissa's information where you can email her. It's melissa@custodyqueens.com. And you can call us
at 1-800-419-7772. That's 1-800-419-7772.
And remember, let love rule.